Hi there, I'm Christy Wilhelmi from Gardenerd. Today I want to talk to you about shelling peas because it's this time of year where you're either harvesting them or planting them depending on where you live. Shelling peas are great for growing as a cover crop over winter if you live in a warm winter climate, and you can grow them to maturity if you want to. You just harvest the peas. It has used up the nitrogen that it has produced from growing the green leafy vines to make the fruit itself, but you still get the benefit of the biomass and the ground cover all winter long. Now, if you live in a place where your last frost date is approaching or has just arrived, you can plant shelling, snow, or sugar snap peas to your heart's content. These are shelling peas, and I really like them because I like to shell them and then freeze them for later, and I'll show you how to do that at the end of this video. First of all, I have grown a couple of different kinds here. These are green arrow shelling peas, and they only grow to a height of about 28 to 30 inches, so you don't technically need a trellis. I grow mine over winter because I live in a warm winter climate, and then I harvest them at the end of February and into March. And then I cut down the rest of the biomass, chop it up, put it into the bed, cover it with compost, water it well, and let it rest about 3 weeks. And then I plant my tomatoes in that spot because that biomass, I have found, makes a huge difference in how well my tomatoes do the following year in the same bed. So I try to plan backwards. Wherever I see I'm going to be planting my tomatoes the following year, I plant shelling peas or a cover crop in that space. As you can see, it makes an abundant harvest. Now, I bet you're wondering what these purple varieties are. These are from a company called Gardenerd, and they are called blue shelling or snow. But I have to say, in the snow stage, the fibrous shells are not snow. I would not use them for that. But when you let them grow to maturity, you do end up with some really nice shelling peas. And they're really pretty. To grow shelling peas, I generally don't amend the soil before planting because they're a giver, you know, they're going to give to the soil. Maybe mix in a little bit of compost if your soil is compacted and not great, but most of the time they kind of push up in not great soil no matter what. The way I like to plant them is two different ways. So if you're growing them along a trellis, plant them 3 inches apart, or 4 per square foot along that trellis. If you're growing them as a cover crop, I like to use hexagonal planting using 4-inch centers. So you're planting them 4 inches apart. Each next row is offset, so it's a hexagonal shape when they all come up. And you just let them go. Now, if you're growing shelling peas that are tall growers, you do need a trellis. If you're growing these green arrow types that only grow to 28 to 30 inches tall, you don't need a trellis. You could put some kind of support there for them to grab onto, but it's not necessary. I like to take my tomato cages that otherwise can't be stored anywhere else, and I just set them on the bed, and then they climb up that and grab on. That's how I do it. Now let's take a look at how to know when they're ready to harvest. You'll find peas at different stages on the same vine. So let's start here. This one is very thin. You can feel the peas, but there's nowhere near ready for this. The second kind of level is sort of here-ish, where they're thin but not yet filled out. And then you get into these, which are about the thickness of my pinky finger. I use that as an estimate, and they're pretty much ready to go. So if I take these, they're going to be pretty good. Now I have down here, this is one that has gotten too big and is probably going to be very starchy. So I'm probably not going to like this one. Let's see what it looks like inside. So you can see the peas have pushed up against one another, and yeah, they're pretty starchy. So then comes the fun part, shelling. I like to pull up a bucket and a bowl and put on a really great movie or have some friends over. And basically, you're going to pop open these pods and just scoop them into the bowl. And then these shells, these pods, can just go straight into the compost bin when you're done. You'll notice some of these are further along than others. These are really big, and when they're this big and they start to square off in the pod, you know they're going to be a bit starchy, but they, when you freeze them and put them in cooking, it's not a big deal. Because I'm usually making curries or something that they go into. All right, let's talk about some of the things that affect shelling peas or peas in general when you're growing them. If you live in a coastal environment or a really humid environment, powdery mildew is going to be part of your life. And I have come to accept powdery mildew as part of my life, and hopefully you can too. I honestly just don't feel like it's worth pulling out the heavy-duty bug spray or fungicides or anything like that. Usually, the powdery mildew starts at the bottom of the plant, and if the plant and soil are vigorous enough, they're going to outgrow that powdery mildew anyway. The plants I harvested these from, the bottoms have powdery mildew, the top is producing like crazy. As I harvest, the powdery mildew climbs up, but by the time I'm done harvesting, it's all done. Doesn't matter. So I take that biomass though, and I put it in the city green bin rather than cutting that down and using it in my own garden. Most of the time, these shorter shelling peas though don't develop powdery mildew, so it's kind of easy to work with them. Rats, that's another thing that can possibly intervene with your pea harvest. So you can drape the whole bed with floating row cover or bird netting to try and avoid them. Hello, being hazed by a bee. Hey bees, how's it going? Basically, you're just gonna wanna protect your crops as best you can. This guy doesn't wanna come out. Look at these, they're just gorgeous. And I love how these purple pods kind of stain your hands. I do like to feed the peas mid-season as they start to flower and form fruits, because they do need a little extra something. They're going to use up that nitrogen, but phosphorus and potassium are responsible for fruiting and flowering, and they may need a little bit of that in order to vigorously produce. So I generally, when I start to see flowers forming, that's when I will put down some fertilizer mixed with compost or worm castings and put that down. And from there, they pretty much manage themselves. Just guide them up. You know, they do have tendrils that they will grab onto the pole, the trellis, or whatever you're using for them to grow up. But they could use a little bit of guidance because they tend to want to grow toward the south. And you may need to pull them back into the trellis to keep the whole thing from falling over, which has happened to me. I have had to, because my sugar snap peas tend to grow above my 8-foot trellis. And so what I have to do is tie something onto that trellis and then lash it to my fence so that the pea trellis doesn't fall over under the weight of the abundance of peas. And when peas reach the top, you can snip them off, but they tend to just fall and then start to regain, and they'll do that toward the sun. So just be careful and keep an eye on that trellis, and if the windy day is coming, you might want to secure it. All right, I think I want to show this. Once you have shelled your peas, my favorite way to store them for later is to freeze them. So you get a cookie sheet, dump everything out onto the cookie sheet, and you just need to put them in the freezer for about an hour, and then they will be ready to put into a plastic bag for further storage or container. Once they're frozen, they're still individualized, so they're really easy to pour into a plastic bag or a container in the freezer for further storage, and then you just pour them out whenever you need some by the cup. Really easy. So we reuse all of our plastic bags so they go into a bag that we've washed, keep in there handy. But that's it. Well, I hope you've found enough information here to inspire you to grow shelling peas this spring or over winter if you live in a warm winter climate. Now, you can find really good recipes for what to do with these peas once you've shelled them at gardenerd.com. Just click on the little search engine and type in pea recipe, and you'll find at least 3, probably more. If you like this video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to find out when our next video comes online. Consider becoming a Patreon subscriber to support all the free stuff that we do here at Gardenerd. And of course, you will find how to grow peas and so much more in my book, Gardening for Geeks. And check out my other books, Grow Your Own Mini Fruit Garden and Garden Variety, my novel that just came out. It's getting great reviews. I hope you check it out. Happy gardening.